Kick it for a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
I love it.
I appreciate you doing it, man. Thanks.
Oh, thanks for having me.
No, I think it's cool, man. Not just complete stranger. You
Yeah,
know,
right?
We feel like old friends now.
Classic
it's-
Myrtle Beach moment.
Yeah, man. It's great. We know a bunch of the same people, so it's cool.
I love that.
So, Drew, you and I have been talking a little bit about what you've got going on with food trucks and all the stuff that's going on. So, real quick, well, first of all, what's the name of your food truck?
I own the Trojan cow food truck.
Okay, the Trojan cow. We'll definitely check that thing out. Like when the first food truck stuff they had down at where the old pavilion was.
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming you had something to do with all that too.
For the first one, I was actually working on a different truck.
Okay.
And we talked about that earlier. I was working on a different truck, so I got to see it firsthand. But also kind of like I can't wait till mine will be here next year.
Right.
I know it. And luckily, it was.
Okay,
so
good.
The Trojan cow was at the second food truck festival.
Good. Yeah, I don't know where we had to be out of town because we always, like I was telling you earlier, we always try to go food trucks. When we went to Portland, you know, I made sure I stayed in Portland so I could go get, what's the donut place? Voodoo Donuts and Brunch Box food truck. And so we stayed in Portland one night and we're gone. So I got BLT and a sandwich and that was it. Then hung out in the mountains again. So I love the whole concept of food trucks. If you will, for a second, talk about kind of your process and your journey to what you were doing before to where you're at now, and kind of what do you think the future is, and we'll just conversate. And
I'll try and condense this out, or
Cliff
just
notes.
throw it. Yeah, right. Because man, it's a Forrest Gump type story, but I love it like that. I was a personal trainer actually and a nutritionist, and a lot of my clients, they were putting in a lot of work. I mean, everyone works hard, the energy was up, but they weren't hitting their results. At least some not at all, and some were just not hitting their results at the pace they wanted. And we found out that the main reason was they weren't eating right. So like, all right, I'll write you a meal plan. You know, it didn't take as well as I would have liked.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
I've worked out with a trainer for years, and I put zero effort into the food. Put the effort in at the gym, but zero effort into the food. And literally, it was just I maintained weight for a year and a half.
Right.
You know, I didn't gain, I didn't lose, but
yeah,
you know, but it was my fault. I put zero effort into it.
Well, honestly, I'd be the same. If someone handed me a piece of paper or an email or a PDF and was like, "Do this, this, and that," I'll read it and I'll want to do it. But I honestly, the commitment's not going to be from reading a PDF.
Yeah.
So eventually I was like, listen, I'll cook for you. I'm gonna prep it up. I'm gonna bring it to you. You're gonna eat. It's all set up. The macros are here. You know, we'll go from there. And it took off. It got really popular. And a lot of people were like, you can cook for me and you can cook for me. And I have no time to cook and I want to be healthy. And it did get popular. And I had to figure out how to scale it without, you know, from going from cooking in my mother's kitchen at 4 a.m. to how to, you know, make this a legitimate business.
Right.
And food trucks were an obvious choice. I didn't have the know-how to start a restaurant, and I knew what that would have taken.
Sure.
So I was like, let me learn how to do this food truck thing. I read 60 books in about 2 years, just to get my mind around what it's going to take from business, marketing. I have every Food Truck for Dummies, Idiot's Guide, for all that stuff. I've read everything I could about food trucks. I worked on a food truck for a year and a half for, you know, it was like an internship, so I didn't get paid a lot. I get paid what I could, but I just wanted that hands-on feel.
Well, and you have to. I mean, that was, I actually wrote a blog not too long ago. I had a young lady ask me, how do you get a job when everybody's looking for a 2-year degree and you don't have one? I'm like, you got to sell yourself. You got to offer to work for free to make sure they know that you're the right one. Go put in that work. If it's something that's all you want, if I want X, it's worth a month worth of free work, a year's worth. I mean, people do internships all the time. But,
oh my God, yeah. And there's so much that comes of it that you will never know from day one. Yeah. Right? Like there's so much that the entire industry now, looking back, came from me working for free, but then a lot of other people doing the same thing. And it paves the way for stuff you'd never see coming.
It's part of the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like whenever I met my partner, I would go hang out in his office, and literally he would tell me, he would be like, "Don't you have something else to do?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, but I'd work on those things nights and weekends. Right. I wanted to spend as much time with him as possible so I could learn the process of running a business, of the decision-making process. Like when I bought this house, I asked him I wanted his advice. I didn't need his permission. Right. I wanted to know what his decision-making process was. Exactly. And so, yeah, man, there's that. And I don't know, and I could be out of touch, but I feel like with like you and I were talking earlier, with all this stuff on Instagram and this millionaire this and you got to have $1 million to,
right.
I mean, it's just crazy. It's great. It's a great goal.
Sure.
But if you don't if you don't make $1 million next year, it doesn't mean you're less of a person. You don't. I mean.
Yeah, totally.
It's just nuts to me.
And that's the key thing, is you said in a year, right? Like that's it's possible, which is great. And if anyone can pull it off, you are a success story, no doubt. But is that practical to set that as a goal? And if you don't hit it, you're a failure?
Right.
Like, no, of course not.
It's insane. It's what, like almost $90,000 a month or something. 83,000, 88,000. I mean, it's some crazy number.
Yeah, 83,334 a month.
I mean, it's nuts.
I play with that, by the way. I didn't do that in my head.
It can be done, right?
But, yeah, absolutely.
But to say that I'm either a failure or a success because I hit this number.
No, I mean,
I would much rather be doing what I love,
right?
Knocking down $100K a year,
sure,
than doing something else that just for a job or whatever. But
absolutely, and I don't think your lifestyle changes. Now I don't have either. I'm not in either one of those brackets yet, but
right.
I don't think jumps in your income at that plateau are really going to drastically change your lifestyle
it doesn't.
anyway.
There's studies. And it's not that high. It's like over 75K.
And
right?
You're good, yeah.
Yeah, it's like between 75 and 95, there's a climb. But and I don't remember, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember these, but from like 95 to 250, there's not a huge jump.
Not a huge jump.
Because but I've had the same situation happen with friends that aren't making much money, where you get somebody on Social Security or whatever, and they go out and they're buying a pack of cigarettes every day, and it's 20% a month of their income, right?
Yeah.
That 20% is different for somebody that's trying to live off of $25,000 a year, than somebody trying to live off 75. And I think that's the big thing, is once you kind of make your monthly nut, then everything else, I don't think there's huge change. There was I don't remember the guy's name, but there was a casino mogul. It wasn't Steve Wynn, but I don't remember. But like, he's like worth $35 billion or something. And I'm watching an interview and on MSNBC, and the interviewer asked, how has your life changed from, I don't know, 10 billion to 35? And he's like, it hasn't.
No.
Why would it?
It's like, what more is there? Unless you're going to help colonize Mars.
Yeah, I mean,
those kind of numbers, man, on Earth here.
Yeah, I mean,
you're good.
You need to be giving it away,
right?
I mean, you need to be doing something with it, as opposed to just continuing to hoard money for no reason.
And like you said, if the younger people, before credit problems, or let's be real, like when you're 18, 19 years old, you probably aren't supporting a family. You're probably not paying a mortgage. You're probably not maybe you have a car payment, but you don't have serious life bills yet. That would be a great time for young people to think about these kind of moves. Because if you told someone and they realized that $50,000 to $75,000 a year and you could live like a king, they might not, one, get depressed about $1 million,
right?
And two, be like, that's it? Yeah, that's it. That's it? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And now, their whole quality of life has changed because they saw that.
Well, that's what I tell young people when I speak to them, especially about bills. Like these $80,000 trucks I see at a Chevrolet dealership. You go buy an $80,000 truck, get into a $1,500 a month car payment. Now you're forced into a job that you may not like.
Right.
Now I don't have the opportunity to try to go start a food truck because I got a $1,500 a month car payment.
Yeah, man. I mean, and that's real.
And I've made those mistakes. That's
sure.
why, like at one point, I had 2 motorcycles and a truck. I mean, I've made those mistakes.
Looks good on Instagram, though.
Well, but I've written a blog about that. I'm like, I mean, that's where we're at, is you're buying stuff you can't afford to try to impress people you don't know. I told a story last week on the blog last week about buying a fake Rolex to try to impress people. And now that I've got a real one, I don't want people to notice it. I mean, that's how crazy it is.
Right.
It's like,
I even see. Oh, yeah, he speaks the truth.
Yeah. So, but it's. But I could remember wanting people to see it and notice it. But I felt like a fraud. I had one guy ask, is that a Rolex Milgauss? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, he's like, it's my favorite Rolex. I'm like, mine too. And I knew. I mean, I'm a fraud. Right. But it was to try to impress. And where it came from for me was growing up super poor. And people that's watch this get tired of hearing these stories. But it was for me to say, see, I told you I made it. This means I made it.
That's the proof.
And now that I've got a real one, it's because it's a milestone piece for me. This year, sold a business, started a business, and my wife and I celebrated our 25th anniversary together, 20th wedding anniversary. It's a milestone piece, man. And so it was for different reasons. And I'm beyond the materialistic. I've got to have this. Now my life has changed into I want to be selfless. I want to help others. I want to encourage young people to go chase their dreams. I'm an idiot. If I can do it, anybody can.
True, so true.
And so, like, I get super excited about alternative careers, whether it's YouTube, Uber, Lyft, food truck. I mean, that stuff is so exciting to me because anybody can do it. You kind of control your own destiny.
Yeah, legit. I mean, there's nothing culinary and there's nothing, well, I mean, I've tried to run businesses, but there's nothing that about me that says that guy's going to have a food truck one day. And that's a pretty common tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. If I can do it, and with what I've done, and I've gotten a lot of credit, and I've probably gotten too much credit for what's going on in the food truck scene, I'm so proud. I'm so happy. And I have busted my butt, and I've put in hours, I've put in time, I've sacrificed plenty. But I still, even with all that, I even get way too much credit. Like, you know, and if I can do that, I mean, if people saw the real, the practical steps, the process, the backstage, the behind the scenes stuff, they'd look at it and be like, he's not that special. And I'm not. It's just
none of us are.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's not.
You know, this. I'll tell you what I think the special part is. We don't quit.
Yeah, no, not happening.
I mean, that's like I was interviewing a young man the other day who's got a hustle that's not. It's not where it needs to be that it'll support him.
Right.
And so he comes in and he interviews for a job that we're hiring for, and I'm like, I'm having a hard time considering hiring you because I would never give up on that. I would work my fingers to the freaking bones. Yeah. I would sell my toys. I would get rid of everything before I gave up on that. And I've made the mistake of assuming that everybody's like that. And it's just not the case. It's crazy.
No, you walk around. You're the oddball.
But I don't understand how people are like that. Like I hear people talk about, oh, I wish I had a food truck. You ain't got to. You can wish and want all you want. It's not. Just go get it. Go do it.
Yeah. And and the bigger the fun thing about hearing that is, and a lot of people do. It's kind of like, all right, if I gotta be honest. When I was coming over here, I was like, I really want a podcast, and I've been talking about it for so long, and now I'm with you, and I'm like, yo, I want one. Man. But here's the funny thing, and it almost makes me a hypocrite in this sense: is I haven't done it. I've been talking about it forever, haven't done it, and people are like that, you know. And some people they want a food truck because they see it's fun, and it is, and I get time freedom. I get to do what I want. I love it. You know, I get to share something with my son and my family and my friends and the community. But there's a lot of people, and the funny thing is, you say you want it now, that's great, and I believe you. But if 2 years go by and we're having the same conversation, like I can't get excited about what you're talking
about.
Still
wanting it, still wishing for it.
Yeah, and at this point, I don't care what you say because I see the patterns.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's very easy to get caught up in the emotion of the result without even thinking about, which goes back to working in the field before you get in. Think about the process of it. You know, most people don't know how much prep and cleaning. Right. Like, if you want to run a food truck, you need to be damn good at cleaning. Like, forget food. You need to clean everything.
I use the analogy too much, but I think people see success like a duck on the water. They just see the duck chilling. They don't see all the work going on underneath the water for that duck just to be chilling on top.
Right.
You know, they don't see the nights, the weekends, the cleaning, the prep, the learning, the reading the 60 books.
Yeah.
They don't see all of that stuff. It's just they got a food truck and I want one.
Right. Yeah. Guy's got a shirt, a tie, uses some big words, and can make a burger.
Yeah. Like, go get one, man. Go do it.
But that's the funny part too. Like, you can still do it.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it. Is it's a lot of work. But it's not a lot of impossible work.
No.
You just get started and, something comes up, you handle it. Something goes right, you celebrate. Something else goes wrong, you handle it. Like, that's just how it is. It's, you're not going to get the whole load dumped on you. Just one at a time.
And now, I mean, where we're at with again, alternative careers, it's not like you're trying to manufacture this microphone. I wouldn't know where to start with this.
Yeah, right?
Right. I mean, I wouldn't know where to start with that.
I don't know.
But
I got nothing.
But if I wanted to start a dog sitting business, if I wanted to rent out a room for Airbnb, I mean, that stuff, it's easy. And like, I tell a story about a young lady that wanted to be a makeup artist, and she's working at, I want to say Waffle House or some job she didn't like. That's what Instagram is made for. That's what YouTube is made for.
Yep.
Go out, but again, make $100 a week. then make $300 a week.
Yep.
Then make $1,000 a month. You don't have to try to make $1 million overnight.
Right.
Build that book of business. Like this girl, I wanted her to allow me to mentor her because I'm like, all you got to do is find one person like my middle-aged wife that it's her birthday, it's her husband's birthday, it's their anniversary. Charge her $200 to do her makeup.
Yeah.
$200 sounds like a lot of money. People's got it.
Yeah.
I may not have it.
And for the occasion.
Right.
And for the emotion that goes behind how perfect that's got to be.
Right.
That's different than I'm late for work.
You may not have it.
Right.
There's plenty of people out there that's got it. I mean, you saw it with personal training, right?
Right.
You know, I
100%.
mean, there's people that'll pay $1,000 a month for training.
Sure.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's people out there that can, and so you got to know your market and go get it. And but the opportunities like that to where you can start your own hustle, leveraging free stuff. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and build your brand, build your business. And so it's
never been easier.
No. Oh my God, no. The opportunities right now are insane.
Oh yeah.
Compared to where they were when I was growing up.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. We could probably put together a marketing campaign at a red light on our phones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculously easy.
Like I talk to people, I don't read well because of ADHD or ADD or whatever. And so I'm reading words and then I'm off somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So you're
Audible. Like 6 pages later, you're what the hell did I just read?
So I use Audible. I let somebody else read to me.
Go. Yeah, right? There's an answer.
I use Audible for a crutch, and I've listened to 15, 16 books last year, and that's 15 or 16 I wouldn't have consumed.
Right.
And they were all they were all practical books. It was about learning how to do public speaking. It was about leadership. It was about startups. It was about all that stuff.
There you go.
You listen to it.
Sounds like we read a lot of the same stuff, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
But businesses are simple. It's just people get bogged down. And honestly, I'll bet my 6-year-old can define a business. Like, it's easy.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, can I call him out?
Sure.
I'll call him out. Kaden, come here. Here, come in the mic. Now, this isn't totally off the cuff because he's obviously my kid, so we talk about this. All right, go ahead and tell Michael what a business is.
A business is when you help somebody and solve a problem and they give you money.
That's exactly what it is.
There, good job, buddy. All right.
And that's where the value is.
Love you, kiddo.
You know, we used to talk about, I would have customers come into our two-way radio shop and it would be like, this widget's broke. Mm-hmm. And you'd be like, well, whatever. You do just something to it takes 5 minutes. And my technicians would be like, do I need to charge them? I'm like, yeah, you need to charge them. You fixed you solved their problem, but it wasn't the 5 minutes. It was your training taught you how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care if you had to hit it with a hammer.
Right.
The training told you where to hit it with.
Yeah,
and what hammer to use.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it wasn't about the time. It was about solving a problem.
Sure.
So absolutely. I think the biggest issue with marketing or with business is marketing. I think people think if you build it, they'll come. And that's not the case.
I got stories for days on that not working. No, I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah.
So I'll get fired up thinking about how many times I've seen that secondhand. Again, another benefit for working for someone else and seeing the business, you get to make mistakes for free and watch other people make mistakes, and it's not costing you anything. But oh my God,
I think about your business. Yeah. You could just go park on the side of 501 in some parking lot. Mm-hmm. And just hope people pull in.
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
Or you could use Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and everything else and leverage that following.
Absolutely.
You know, we were talking about Jason earlier, and I mean, it's all the time. Mm-hmm. J Mike's Tacos and where he's at and this kind of stuff.
Flavor Station, too. Yeah. Perfect branding. People love talking about it.
Yes.
It's good food, too.
And it's free. That marketing costs him nothing.
Yep.
And then with like Facebook and stuff like that, you could dig into the paid marketing and go exactly to the demo you're looking for whatever the product, service. I mean, you could find dog owners that make X number of dollars a year and market just to that person if you're in the dog sitting business. And it shows up in their feed and
shows up
you're not you're not spending $5,000 on a TV ad that you don't know if you're going to get any return on that investment.
Yeah. If it's DVR, no one's even going to see you.
I cut my cable off 2 years ago.
Right.
It's YouTube, it's Amazon Prime, it's Google.
Yep. I got the Apple TV. I do the same thing.
I mean, it's crazy to me
that,
and again, that's the entrepreneur in me. That I get frustrated when people don't take advantage of that stuff because, I talk to young people and one of them the other day was talking about wanted to be a clothing designer, wanted to start a fashion brand.
All right.
That's what this stuff is made for.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. Don't get that twisted.
Yeah,
it's not going to be easy.
Right.
It's simple, but it's not simple and easy are two different things.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
And who knows, man? I mean, it's easy to say. Like I was talking to the young man, I showed him. I was like, you could get on legit and find a freelancer to design you the clothing, that the screen printing or whatever. Then you could get online or go local and have somebody screen print it.
Yep.
Use Instagram, give it away like Dr. Dre and those guys did with Beats to build that brand.
Yeah, that's so huge.
You're $1,500 into it. You've got 1,000 shirts on the street, and then you start charging. You know, I mean,
so huge.
And if it doesn't work, you've learned, and it costs you $1,500.
Yeah,
it's not the end of the world.
No, and more and
you're 17.
Yeah,
right.
More often than not, those things pan out.
Yeah,
and if your stuff is good, it'll pan out. And if it's not good, people will try you once and then be like, not for me.
You got to pay attention. You got to learn from your mistakes. Like I was telling you, all the mistakes I've made in the past that we all make, you just learn from them.
Yeah.
You learn from them and you move on, or you fix it and adjust. You stay in that business. But I just wonder, man, because I always talk to people about don't do it for money. If you do it for money, when the money doesn't come, you'll quit.
Yeah,
if you're doing it because you love fashion, if you're doing it because you love food, if you love that industry, or, whatever.
You got to have something besides the money.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
And what I say it needs to be money and happiness. That needs to be how you get paid, is in money and happiness.
Absolutely.
Because we got to have money to pay bills.
Yeah. No, we're in business. We're not nonprofit.
But if there's a money and happiness element to your comp plan, even if you're working for somebody, don't go work a job that makes you miserable, man. Go work a job that makes sense and
that's
you're
awesome
happy.
That you say that. You know, and same thing. You don't know where it's going to take you. A lot of my stuff that I lean on now heavy is from some jobs that I've had where people are like, "Is this going to be your career?" Like, I don't know, but right now, like I learned, I worked at Melting Pot for years, and I get obsessively competitive. Like I could tell you right now how long it takes, like 18 ounces of water to boil. If that burner's on high, I will tell you how long it takes to boil. I know what it's going on. I know how many steps it takes to go from one table to the back and back. Like I just got obsessive, almost like Kobe Bryant obsessive about the details, which enabled me, again, I like the challenge and I like the obsession. I made money because of certain things where if I knew I had 2.5 minutes to do something and there were 3 minutes of free time going on, I could knock that out the park and handle something else for 30 seconds with no problem. It's not because it's arrogance or whatever, it's bravado. I just studied that. Yeah. Well, now in the truck, there's a lot of those things that come up again, or at least the structure of it, where now I own my own business, but I didn't learn that because I'm a business owner. I learned that because of the job that I was in allowed me to do that.
Right. So on your truck, is it just you or do you have help or...
Depends on what's going on.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm solo.
Okay.
Sometimes I've had as many as 3, maybe 4 people on the truck.
Okay.
But same thing, systems.
Right.
Systems, so if it's busy, I need someone on the fry, someone on the grill, someone in the window, and someone expoing or, getting the food out.
Right.
calling out names. So,
right.
Tom,
but they all have their duty to take care of, and it runs smooth.
Oh, man.
As smooth as it can, right?
I went off. I have whiteboards. I'm a whiteboard freak. I have whiteboards all over my room about, everything. But one I used when I was building the truck was, I made a scale, drawing of the truck, and then dotted lines as to where everyone's station would be, and you couldn't cross those lines. And then I would get on the truck once the truck was built, and I had to, and I still have the papers in my other notebook, and I would coordinate choreograph how someone could drop step from the grill to the counter, with someone else with hot fries going to the other station, and someone else at the window. If you need to grab something, slide to the left, don't turn, just slide. And I could have 3-4 people in that small truck working 100%, and you'd never hit each other. Like you'd never cut.
But that's next level winner stuff right there. Like you mentioned Kobe earlier. That's what that is.
I get crazy about that
stuff.
Yeah,
it's not just we're going to jump in and do this. Back to the duck, right? I mean, there's a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of prep, a lot of thought that goes into every bit of this.
Because when you get your meal in like less than 30 seconds, people are like, "Oh, this must be easy." Yeah. No, man, it's crazy in there.
Yeah. Or it's like it's. Even like when they do the barbecue festivals, here at Mark Common or whatever, you go over there and you'll have somebody that has nobody in line. Then there'll be a line that's 100 people deep. You got to go get in the 100-person deep line, right?
Absolutely.
So there's a reason it's 100 deep.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be the one in the window, just kind of like
just
anybody.
Chilling. Yeah.
No. All right.
So did you build your truck? Did you buy your truck? I mean, what's that process like for?
How real of a podcast is this? We can be completely real and transparent on this
I'm
one.
completely transparent. You do what you want to do. I'm completely
I was
transparent.
talking more like the language and the content. No, I built a lot of the truck. I bought it out of Boston. It's a Boston Globe truck. Some guy bought a bunch of them, was going to start a food truck empire. His family talked him out of it. Now he's stuck with a bunch of trucks. So he let it go for real cheap. And then I had a cousin and a good friend who lived in Hartford, Connecticut, drive to Boston, kick the tires. I was like, yo, take that thing up to 50, jam on the brakes. Like, let's make sure that I'm going to get a truck.
Right.
And so they're like, yo, it looks legit. I was like, all right, cool. Send it down. I had it shipped down. And I had some friends. I had one friend or guy I knew that was like, I'll build it. And he did like half the job in 4 times the amount of time he said and just dropped it. He was like, it's too much. I was like, well, you said you built food trucks. And at that point, I didn't know much about it. I was like, I'm going to trust you.
You're learning as you go again, right?
Yeah, like I need the walls. Here's the window dimensions. Like I'll do the dimensions. I'll let you know what and where. I drew it out, show him the blueprint. And he dropped it. So I put a lot of the screws into the walls and a lot of the paint, a lot of the things that I never would have known about. Now the propane lines, the electric, I don't mess with that because if something goes wrong, because I'm learning, like that's a bad day. Yeah. So
let's learn with painting and the trim pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I did a lot of the work on this one, but I also had a lot of help. So,
what's the process now? All the work you've done with the city. Are they, I'm assuming they're inspected just like restaurants, all that kind of stuff. Yep. And, you've got your grade and.
Yep. Yeah, you get inspected by the same, every food truck has to be affiliated with a commercial kitchen. So that's where I park my truck. Mine's at Charlie Granger's in Carolina Forest.
Okay.
So I park it there. I share the kitchen space, so the fridge space, shelving, stuff like that. I share with them. We all wash our dishes and the same stuff. Now I sneak in before they open. So that way we're not really like, I need this, no, I need this.
Yeah, I get it.
And they've been great, and we work well together because they open after I leave. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or I'm in there before they open.
Right.
So yeah, the DHEC inspector for Charlie Granger's is my DHEC inspector.
Okay.
So it's the same protocol, same everything. You got to make sure your temperature, protocols are there. You got to make sure that there's no leaking or openings for the windows, and you got to make sure everything's sealed. There's no room for debris to kind of to settle. All the intricacies.
The same thing you'd expect in a restaurant.
Same thing. Yep.
What's the process if some young person was, I want a food truck? I mean, what's the process? Truck out of the way through the city. Kind of what's
no
that
problem. What's
that process look like to go get permitting and all that?
I love it. All right, I love this part. I feel like I've done this before.
I'm sure you have.
You gotta get the truck. You gotta get the truck built first, and then you gotta get a commercial kitchen because before you can do anything, you have to have a DHEC inspection approval.
And you have to be tied to
your kitchen.
Okay.
Right. So first thing is build the truck, then get the kitchen, then get DHEC. Take that to we're talking just city, right? Like not county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
City, you need to go get your food vending permit. Part of that permit is 2 locations. So you have to go and ask two locations anywhere, wherever you want to set up and feed people. You get a consent form. You get a site plan. I just go on Google Maps. Again, easy stuff. Go on my phone, pull up Google Maps and where I want to go, screenshot it, email it to myself, print it, and bring it to them. And I take a highlighter. That's where my truck will be. Like, not that hard. And then you get a copy of their business license to show that they're a legit business in the city. And then you have to get some pictures of your truck, your registration, basic stuff. They have a checklist, actually, so it really doesn't get much easier than that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You turn all that in. Once you get your food vending permit, then you go get your business license and a retail license, taxes and stuff.
Right.
And then you're off to the races, man. You just go feed people.
And right now, there's how many permits do you say is out there now, and what are we getting? 6, and we're hoping to end up at what at some point?
For this round, we're going to expand the pilot program to 20 is the goal. I think we asked for 30. They said 20. We're cool with 20.
Okay.
Great. Let's compromise. So we're going to have 14 more permits coming out sometime early 2019. So, I mean, we're getting there.
That's huge. I mean,
yeah, man. We're
going
to almost triple. And I ambitiously would love to see that happen in the first month. It took a year to get 6.
Yeah.
I want to see all 14 closed up in a month.
Do you see the Outbacks and the Carrabba's and the Bonefishes of the world getting into this bit? Because that's what I love about it is it's you and it's local guys that are cooking local flavor. Local flair. Do you see the big guys getting into it?
Yep.
Yeah, I would assume so too.
And here's why. First of all, it's a practical business model. All right, it's a proven business model, lower barrier for entry. I've actually done consulting for Chick-Fil-A to figure out if they can do a food truck based on their jurisdiction ranges and stuff. Waffle House has a food truck here now.
I saw a picture. I didn't know if it was photoshopped or if it was the real deal.
It's real. I'll be there.
Okay.
Because my favorite waffle place closed at 2.
Okay.
So I'll be there getting waffles. But no, I think the big businesses are going to understand you can annex your business or do events and have a greater reach, a more diversified reach, just by having a truck. Bojangles has like 2 trailers in the back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they go to events and do stuff like that.
Yeah, well, and when I think of food truck, I'm thinking, every day. Because I've seen the Bojangles. And Chick-fil-A's got a trailer, too, it seems like. They'll carry around to some events or whatever.
Yeah. They want a food truck.
We ever going to get to a park to where we just got a permanent location that's full of food trucks? Is that what?
I can't tell you yet. No, I'd love one.
I would think they should.
I would love one.
I look at that old pavilion property. I look at over here at Market Common. Beautiful
area.
That's what we just. And it's a place to gather and bring community in and all that kind of stuff. It's.
Well, that's how food trucks work. That's the industry. You get out, you're outside, you're talking to people. You're not even in a good restaurant. There's still booths, and you're kind of sectioned. You're partitioned off.
Yeah.
But food truck parks and food truck events, you are literally mingling. It's almost like a concert.
Yeah.
And if there's music, then you're really killing it. You know what I mean? Like that's just a good ambiance. But yeah, food trucks are definitely a proven system. And we're going to eventually, someone's going to have a food truck park here.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a part of it. I got plenty of ideas and I want to so bad. And someone's going to do it, just like someone's going to do everything.
Yeah. Well, I think the city should want it. What's in Wilmington? Is it a container park? There's something in Wilmington that the city went to.
They took the storage containers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, they've got a thing. It may be called Container Park or Container City in Las Vegas, and that stuff is the coolest, man.
That's crazy stuff, right?
It's you got this outdoor area and lights and live music and food trucks and. That'll bring people to town. I mean, I know we get millions that come to town anyways, but I mean, it'll get the locals out. It'll get folks from Conway coming to the beach. It'll do all that stuff.
You know what's crazy? Is I was thinking about this because a lot of people ask when they ask me about the food truck business, and a lot of people are like, well, that'd be great for the tourists, and it would be, and I love people who visit Myrtle Beach, and I love them for visiting. But I would venture to say 95% of my business is locals.
I think that is
even
in
the summer.
I think that's the market.
I love serving people who have it's either offices or private businesses, private catering jobs. A lot of people who live here, they really step up and support local food trucks. It's crazy. Now the tourists do too. Don't get me wrong. And if you're good on Facebook, like you said, I can spread the word and target an ad to Charlotte, knowing that Charlotte gets out of school in the next week or in 2 weeks, and really get push that and put ads up against that area. Or if I know Ohio gets out of state or out of school, or if I know spring break in the Big East is coming up, you can target stuff and get people down here. But the locals have really been carrying us.
Yeah. Well, it's the locals that want it, right? It's the locals that are trying to talk to the city about it or whatever because they're the ones that want it. It seems like there's a stigma or a thought with certain folks that and it's probably an older demo would be my assumption just because this stuff, but that it's going to have a negative effect on other restaurants and other businesses. When I've been to places that have food truck parks where there's other restaurants next door, it brings business to them. Yeah. It does not, at least my experience from what I've seen personally, it does not stifle their business at all. It brings an extra few hundred people next door to where they can walk to the bar and get a beer or whatever.
Simple as that. Simple as that. One of the Bowery's best days, Bowery's right on 8th Avenue, 9th Avenue, and Ocean. One of their best days of the year is the Saturday of the Food Truck Festival. Hands down. He gets so much overflow and so much going on, and it's also people spending money, getting up and leaving. Not that he doesn't, people are paying and leaving, and someone else comes in and leaves. It's not like a 2-hour dinner. And I remember talking to Vic, and he was like, one of my best days is when you guys are around. And him actually endorsing food trucks when we were first trying to get this going. It's a brick and mortar, and we were right next door, and we were taking all the business. He still had a record day.
Yeah.
So that really opened up our eyes. And I've even had national chains sign off on me being right next door. I mean, my first location was right next to a Chili's.
Oh,
and they
really?
were like, yeah. And the law was then you have to be 500 feet from a restaurant. And I was like, well, or if they sign a consent saying it's okay. They didn't hesitate. Like, yeah, come on by. Because the food truck is going to bring people to an area that hasn't been activated in a while.
Right.
You know, you drive by a Chili's, that's like seeing cows. You know, you drive by a food truck, that's a purple cow. That'll stand out.
Nah, it does, but I still, it's like, I see people carry flat panel TVs out of Costco, and it's like they got their chest up. It's like, bro, that's all you could buy for the last 15 years. It's not a big deal anymore. But like, that's how I feel when I see a food truck. I'm like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
I want to. I don't know what kind of food. I don't care. I want that experience. I love it, man. I just think that stuff is the coolest.
I love it. And thank you, because it is. It's fun. And on a whim, you can get a good idea, and tomorrow it's on the menu. You know, and it could be anything. Like I did an event last week with Braised in the South, and I was, to be honest, I had a panic attack for 7 days. I was like, this is the season 8 food truck winner of the Great Food Truck Race, and I'm gonna line up with him. Now we worked together. It wasn't like it was a cook-off or nothing, but I was like, I gotta step my game up.
Right.
So obviously we fed each other, and they loved the food, and I loved their food to the point where I was like, I need to really like the way they pull flavors and develop stuff. So now I've got like 3 new menu items I get to play with.
Yeah.
Not that I even copied them, just thinking like, oh my God, this has crunch and salt and spice, but it's also like barbecue. Or like you're mixing this in, like the ideas are endless, man.
I wish I could cook. Like I love.
You could cook.
No, like I mean, like me. I caveman cook. I need fire, salt, and pepper. That's how I cook.
Done, man. You probably kill it too.
But it amazes me when people dip a spoon in there. Oh, it needs a little whatever. And I'm like, I wish I knew how to cook, because I love the concept of just, you know, finding stuff. But I look at that too. Like, I forget what it was I was making. Oh, I found a Brussels sprouts.
All right.
And I find this Brussels sprouts video on YouTube. Laura in the kitchen. I'm watching Brussels sprouts. They are so I make them every time we have people over. They're like, oh, these are the best Brussels sprouts ever. And I'm like, so I tell young people, if I was a young person, my daughter's 8, if I was my daughter's age and I had this support, if I wanted to be a chef, I would be recreating Laura Vitale's videos and recipes on YouTube.
Which is,
I would be videoing them.
Yep.
I would be building an online resume. So when I turn 18 10 years from now, I've got 500 videos of me cooking.
The content and the experience and the
and you learn it, but now you're 18 and you can go out and you can go to the Culinary Institute and then start leveraging Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. Start having conversations with the chefs that you idolize.
Yeah. And you probably have a following for doing it for that long.
Oh my God, it'd be
automatically.
huge.
And yeah, that would be incredible. It's a good idea, actually. It's a real good idea.
That takes zero effort. Just, it's YouTube, man. You learn how to do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I would just recreate it, so I had the content. I built
like
the resume.
A lot. Yeah, well, that's the thing too.
You know?
That would work so well, because you're taking something that works and you're putting your spin on it, and then you're also making it original.
Yeah.
And it's genuine. Yeah. You know, and imagine all the content you put out.
Well, and genuine's another huge thing. Yeah. Like when I talk to people about YouTube, and there's plenty of people making plenty of money on YouTube. Right. You have to be genuine.
Yeah. You know? Nowadays, people can even through YouTube, you can smell some BS.
Yeah, but like you're not going to be the next Doug DeMuro. I'm not going to be the next Joe Rogan, right?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just. So to try to copy
Rogan... You got the same mic as him, though. I did notice that.
Is it the same mic?
You guys got the same mics.
They're good mics. I just got another one in today, in case one breaks.
I did peek this. Like I'm like inspired right now.
Yeah. No, they're good mics. But like you can't go copy somebody else and expect their results. You got to do your own thing. Be authentic. Be genuine.
Absolutely.
And it'll be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now the thing I just said about my daughter, you've got an 8-year-old recreating videos that a grown chef has made. That's adorable and that's cute, and people will follow and people will watch it. And and as you get older and you learn over the next 2 or 3 years, it doesn't take that long, right? Right. Now you're creating your own stuff and
absolutely.
I love the idea.
And if she did it, she would evolve.
Yeah.
Not only as she grew as a chef and a content creator, and at that point a filmmaker and a promoter and a marketer and a CEO, but then also as a personality, and her chef skills would grow. So I mean, everything would be different.
Yeah, like right now she's got a YouTube channel, and We started a second channel for her the other day. The first video was just her sitting in her bedroom talking about, this is why I want to do a YouTube video.
Nice.
The other day, the second video she makes was about, she's making brownies out of a box and all that stuff. And
that would be the best chef show ever.
It's
just
so,
read the box.
Well, that's what she's doing. She's reading it. It's so funny because while the brownies are baking, we're having a conversation. She's like, Daddy, do you want me to tell my audience about your channel?
Yes.
It was,
first of all,
it was so funny. And she would come in, she'd be like, Dad, I've got 14 subscribers today. You're getting beat by an 8-year-old.
Oh my God,
bro, she cracks me up. But we come up here, we'll edit video, and it's the time we get to spend together. She's like, I want to change this, and let's do this, and let's do that. I'll do the editing. And you know, but she's involved and loving it. I just bought her a new camera today, a little DJI freaking 3 gimbal, this little handheld like a GoPro.
The Osmo?
Yeah, the Osmo, the Pocket.
Those are sweet. Oh yeah, dude, you can fit those anywhere. They're like keychains.
It's like that big. I've got an Osmo somewhere here, and this other thing, I'll never use that Osmo. No? This thing it records in 4K. The problem's the audio.
Okay,
that's the problem because it's got a little bit. You got to get an external microphone. Okay. But I bought an Osmo for my phone to do kind of selfie videos and to talk, and then I bought that Ronin over there, which I've only got it set up once, but that
thing looks sweet.
Yeah, I can't wait to use it.
I legit hold my Mavic Pro and just walk around with my Mavic Pro.
Well, see,
I need to get an Osmo.
That's the next purchase is a drone.
Yeah,
because I want to take the Ronin and go do some videos of my daughter. She's got a small one of those 9-bot Segways, and we're going to go do some stuff on it and show that. But yeah, you're right. She'll learn how to edit video.
All of that.
She'll learn how to do every bit of that stuff, and it builds confidence.
Is Gatorade paying you, by the way? I'm gonna cover this till Gatorade pays you.
It builds confidence. Yeah. Because now when she's called on in class, I don't care. I can sit here and, like, she has a skill that I can't do. I cannot look dead on into that camera and talk.
Really?
No, I can't do it.
What happens?
It's just, I don't know. It's just weird to me to try to look and act like I'm talking to an audience. She has no problem with it.
Can we try it for a little bit? Like, I'm gonna still talk to you, but we'll just kind of like stare at the cameras.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna look at you because that's who I'm talking to.
But I get. It does feel different actually now that we're doing it. Maybe I don't know.
But even like people that are doing like daily vlogs and stuff and walk around holding cameras out and doing that kind of stuff, I'd have a hard time doing that.
I would trip on something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I would trip on
when
something.
I first started doing this, I couldn't listen to myself, right? Everybody hates their own voice, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever, you get over it. It makes you stronger and you're better off.
It's like game film, right?
Yeah.
Like if you suck, if you have a garbage game, you still got to watch it and pick it apart.
It was painful.
Or if you get, embarrassed.
It was painful.
But you took the process.
Yeah, but whatever. Now I'm over it.
Same thing. It's not all fun and it is fun. Like this is a blast, by the way. Like if I can make a living doing this.
Oh, it would be. How great would that be? If you could do Rogan stuff.
God.
And like this is for young people and students, but if you could just all day cut up with your boys.
Oh my God.
Oh, what a. Like, I watch, well, they just changed the name of it. What is it? The King and the Sting or something with Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
This King and the Sting.
I could do that all day.
It'd be
just
fun.
sit and talk. And that's what my daughter says. She's like, here we go. Daddy's jibber-jabbering again.
I'm glad you are, though, because I'm normally, like, I'm sorry I just ranted. I'm sorry I'm ranting. I tell all my friends, like, I'm going to try and do this in 20 words or less. Yeah. Like, it's every time.
That's what happens. I mean, I just get sidetracked. I mean, we're talking about Ronins and everything else. We're supposed to be talking about food trucks and young people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, I have a drone for food truck footage. So there's the segue.
Yeah. But that, I mean.
You can borrow that anytime, by the way.
But if you
I'll bring you my drone next time.
But if you think about, like, a drone.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Like, before, if you wanted to go get aerial video of the food truck festival, you'd have to rent a helicopter and professionals
and a big heavy camera.
And now you just go buy a $600 drone and
right.
I mean, it's
send that thing up.
It's nuts to me, and you see them everywhere. Like I've got a real estate agent that's going to come do the podcast, and that's what she does. I mean, she hires a photographer. She's not taking pictures of your house with her cell phone.
Nope.
They come in with a drone. They show I mean, it's again, that's the difference. Yeah. That's the 5%, not the 95%.
Exactly.
And I think that rules in everything.
Big time. It makes a big difference.
You're planning out how you can step here and do this and do that. that gets you to the 5%.
Right.
And the other 95%, they're tripping on each other and dropping fries in the floor, and stuff's not getting out, and they're getting bad reviews.
Oh yeah, you talking about the drop step system?
Yeah. I mean, they're getting bad reviews on Facebook and everything else.
Yeah, no, that's important too. That's really important. The reviews and the feedback.
Dude, we at my old business, we had one of our employees was driving, and a goose ran out in front of him, walked out. I don't know. The goose got hit by the car.
Oof.
And immediately somebody goes to Facebook and puts a 1-star review. I'll never support this company that deliberately runs over a federally protected bird.
God.
So
they hunted down an endangered.
Right. So we write this huge response. Sorry you had to witness it. It wasn't deliberate.
Gotta handle it. Yeah.
It's either the bird or the car beside you or some kid on the sidewalk, whatever. And then somebody else chimes in from 400 miles away. They had no way of, it was, and I'm like, what are we going to have to do? Am I going to have to cut our Facebook off? Am I going to have to give a donation to something?
Yeah,
and what do we have to do to make this go away because a bird walked out in front of somebody?
Yeah.
And, I just posted a blog about that today about the benefits and consequences of social media. Because I'm sure you've seen the story about the person getting sued for leaving the bad reviews on the restaurant in North Myrtle Beach.
I heard
because they were lies or whatever, alleged lies. I don't know. Right. But that's what the news article is
exactly.
That they didn't accept a coupon that she bought from a previous owner that I believe was expired, and left reviews that there was worms in the food and everything else.
Something like that.
You can't do that.
No.
You can't be mad and then lie to try to ruin somebody's life and career.
Yeah. I've had one review like that, actually.
It's crazy.
I've had one review. It was a ghost account.
Of course.
But now the other fun side of that is if you have an abundance of, again, being authentic and genuine, but you have an abundance of positive reviews. Like at the time I got that 1-star, it was like food was overcooked, worst food ever. He was going in. Yeah. And but it was funny because I was like, what day, I'm so sorry about that. What was the location? Maybe I remember you. Like, I don't know. It was nothing. Then come to find out it was a fake account. I was like, well, I'll tell you what, on your first time to my truck, like, it's on me. Like, have a meal and let me know how you really like it. But when you have, like, an abundance of positive reviews, hopefully that will, one, offset the negative. Well, even if it's real.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing, though, is I was at a class, and it makes total sense to me, is if you get that negative review, you don't respond to it with, please call me. You address it online just like they did.
Yeah.
And you put it out online. You try to solve that problem there.
Gotta handle it.
And you can't hide from it. It's there. You can't.
Yeah.
You just
like,
address it, move on, and
what
be
happened?
done with it. Yeah.
Tell me.
What? And you need to learn, right? If it's legit and something happened and people aren't happy, you need to learn from that. But you can't make everybody happy.
Well, that's where I get, I might be sick in the head for this kind of stuff, but like I get super jacked out of my mind when something goes wrong. Yeah. Not like for someone not enjoying their meal, but like, or even like if friends are like, it could use more salt or this and that. If something goes wrong on the truck, I get freaking excited. I'm like, we're about to get so much better. Like, this is so fantastic. And I get to figure it out, or like if things take too long, that's my thing. If I ask people, if it's busy, I will legit pull some random person around to the back of the truck and just be like, hey, how was the wait? Like, was the wait all right? How long were you waiting? Because that drives me nuts. Yeah. If people feel, not even if it's legit, if they feel like they're waiting too long.
That's your reality. However, their perception is your reality.
Yeah.
That's what we learned. But that makes me think of, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was talking about Chick-Fil-A. Mm-hmm. I think every young person should work at Chick-Fil-A.
Yeah.
It teaches them customer service.
Big time.
And the importance of the customer experience.
Big time. Yep.
My pleasure.
Every time.
Every single time.
I thought it was me. I was like, maybe it's my smile. Yeah. But no, every time. Everybody.
Every time.
That's awesome. Man. They do it right.
But it's always been they're the cleanest fast food restaurants I've been in.
Yep.
Like, I see people out there organizing the ketchup, and
it's serious.
That's a fantastic place. And I don't know, and you may know, but I've always heard rumors that, like, to franchise a Chick-fil-A, number one, you have to be invited, and that it's not that expensive to get a franchise if you've been invited.
Nope.
Okay, that's another opportunity for a young person that may or may not decide to go to school.
Right.
So what is Chick-fil-A? It's a fast food restaurant. We've all worked at them.
Yeah.
There's no stigma with it. There shouldn't be. Don't buy into that stuff.
Right.
You start on the fries, and 10, 15 years from now, you own one.
Right.
But again, 10, 15 years, that's the process. You're not going to skip the process.
You can't. No one's going to give you a friend. Who are you? Like, you know what I mean?
You haven't proved yourself. You haven't done anything. You just give this to me. Well, right. I had a young man that worked for me years ago. I prefer worked with me, but he, I just hate for me. I hate the word boss. Oh, I hate that.
That's funny.
This is my boss.
I say team and teammate.
Yeah, this is my boss. I cannot stand that. But anyways, this guy's working with me. He was young, just graduated college, and he had a degree in like city management. I don't know what the degree, but it was like
city management,
something like that.
That's heavy.
But he thought he was going to go take Tom's job. I mean, that's not the way this works. Yeah. You go get a job. You start as an intern. You work in the mailroom, and you work your way up.
Yeah.
But his attitude was, this piece of paper says I deserve that job.
Yeah. All right.
You in for a rude awakening.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a little late in the year. It's 2019. That kind of.
Yeah.
I love college for a lot of reasons. I went to college. I didn't finish. I love college for a lot of reasons, and there are so many benefits to this day. But certain things, one, you don't need college for. Two, a degree is not going to guarantee you anymore.
No.
And kicking the door into a job, being like, I want that spot.
Yeah.
Is one of those things that's no longer going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and just that process, you know, some people, I watch a guy on YouTube who's got a car channel, the Strad Man, and he did a video not too long ago about his journey and kind of the same thing of the process. You know, he wanted to start this channel, and he was in Los Angeles, Hollywood, filming supercars, what looked like on his phone. The quality was terrible. He was sleeping in his car in a parking lot, making $5 a day on YouTube, and that was his struggle. Now he's got 2 Lamborghinis, McLaren, Audi. He's got all this stuff now, but again, it was the process. But he tells a story about finding out someone else was making more money than him at his corporate job. So he went in to give his notice, hoping that his boss would offer him more money to stay or whatever.
Yeah, entitlement.
And boss is like, well, thanks for the help. It's been good.
Bye.
Deuces.
Yeah.
And so, so he learns, right? Yeah. That's not the way to handle this stuff anymore.
Exactly.
Go in and have a conversation like an adult, and because I've run into that a lot that people think that everybody should be paid the same or this or that. Circumstances are different. Experiences is different. That's your deal. You signed up for your deal. Why do we have a problem with your deal now?
Right.
When somebody else comes on board or whatever. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if you agreed to something like that.
Yeah.
If you don't know, this is almost a little, not dark, but it's a little harsh for people who maybe not heard it before. I feel like we should look at the cameras for this stuff. But no, like if you don't know your own value, that's on you.
Yeah.
And I say that not because I want people to get taken advantage of.
Right.
But I want people to take a little more responsibility, especially, again, young people maybe have been told by, whether it be teachers, friends, family, parents, whatever, someone else's parents, society, your boss was in a bad mood one day when you happen to be vulnerable. You have to figure out what your value really is. And if someone's going to sit here and go, you're nothing, that doesn't mean you're nothing. It means they had a bad day or they don't see your value yet.
Yeah.
Now, if you agree to $4 an hour, when the minimum wage is $8 or whatever, or even if you agree to minimum wage when you're really doing a $20 an hour job or $20 an hour effort, you have to negotiate that. Then back it up.
You have to, that's
Don't get paid and then be like, well, all right, I'll be here for the check.
Yeah.
So you got to back it up too. But I'm really big on discovering, or if you're really lucky, and I've done this a couple times and got really lucky with it, is you just name your value, back it up, but name your value. Yeah. So if it's $300 an hour, it's $300 an hour for something. If it's $20 an hour, it's $20. If it's free, then it's got to be free. Don't get egotistical, and I've done all of them.
But the value, for training, whenever I was working out with my trainer and that kind of stuff, we had a monthly thing that turned into a daily thing or whatever. And when we were talking about him doing his own thing, I was like, you just work it backwards, man. You reverse engineer this thing.
Yes.
I need this.
Great word. I love that stuff.
I need this.
Yep.
So there's only this much time in a day, which means I need X number of people at this rate to get to this nut. And that's the way to do it. It was a lot, but there's people out there. You only need 8 of them, right? That's all you need.
That's it.
You don't need 8 million. You need 8 people to pay you X to get to where they needed to be.
Totally scalable.
Yeah,
and when it's math, it's easy to swallow. It might not be easy to understand at first, but like you said, if it's
but you know what you have to do. You know what you got to do to get there. Yeah. And if that number's too high, then something has to be adjusted, and you either got to work longer hours, you got to work more days, you got to do something. or you cut sessions in half or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know where to go to get there. But
you'll figure it out, and that's the most exciting part about life in general is you can figure out anything. Like, and I try not to ramble on that kind of stuff, but I mean, at one point, I think it was like 1952, maybe, that no one could run a mile under 4 minutes.
The 4 minute mile, yeah.
It was human. Like they said, it was scientifically impossible.
They thought your heart would explode.
Yeah, like it was not. No one's done it yet.
No,
impossible.
You will die if you run a sub 4 minute mile.
Yeah, like it's not. Not only is it not like it's not possible. There are other times in history when things that we take for granted now that even children understand was considered germ theory. Like all this, like that's real stuff. Like who knows what we're going to be capable of 50 years from now? Who knows what young people are going to be capable of 10 years from now?
Whether you say you can or you can't, you're right.
100%.
Right. Like I know when I was in the gym, what I needed in the gym was, or what I liked the best is when my trainer wouldn't give me a number. If I knew I was doing 12 reps, number 12, I can barely get it up, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the number.
Every time. Every
single time.
Yeah.
But if it's just like rep it out, now 12 and 13 and 14, and now he tells you stop at 15.
Right.
But if 12 was the number, that was it. It was like, and it's all in your mind.
Oh, yeah. I call that psychological motor recruitment, which is like a twist on my twisted way of getting my trainer life some more miles. But like motor recruitment's like that, right? Like we are physiologically designed to only use the minimum amount of effort and muscle momentum to move something, right? So if you're lifting up, you ever grab a carton of milk that you thought was full? You smash the ceiling of your, that's that phenomenon in play because you are expecting more weight. You're never going to jack, like I'm never going to grab this with 75% of my mass or my weight and effort. And psychologically, we do the same thing. If, like you said, if I said, hey, we're going to do 4 sets of 12, around 9, 10, you start getting an adrenaline rush. Around 12, you rack the thing. Yeah. And you might call it your best, but we only do the minimum amount by design. You can train yourself out of it, but by nature, we only do the minimum amount required to get things done. We do it in relationships. Most people do it in business. We do it in fitness. It's just how we are. And it's got its reasons, but we're not running from saber-toothed tigers, and we're not living in caves, and that kind of lizard-brained thinking isn't always useful anymore.
Have you read or listened to David Goggins' book?
No, but all right, real talk. You're the 5th person that's brought that up this week. That is so awesome. I gotta get it. I've seen his podcast.
Goggins is
I'm getting the book.
Man.
All right, that's a sign. I'm getting the book. All right,
I got it the day it come out.
That's awesome.
Just finished it few weeks ago.
All right. I'm in.
It's like we know the seals are bad, but like he's next level. I mean, you know about Dave.
Yeah, his story's ridiculous.
It's beyond ridiculous, but like,
and I love it.
Like, I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. I'm 375 pounds. I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL.
Right.
I'm gonna do 4,000 pull-ups in the next 24 hours.
Yep.
I'm gonna run 100 miles, and I've never ran before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
crazy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, crazy in a good way, not crazy like you're crazy, it's not gonna happen.
No, it's that mental strength is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And just I'm gonna go run 100 miles.
Right.
Him and was it Jesse Eisner? Is that his name? That David went and lived with for a month or whatever. The guy that owns the Hawks. Used to own a jet service. I think it's Eisner.
Eisner.
Yeah.
Might be.
I think it's Jesse Eisner.
I sure got my phone. Could Google that stuff on the camera.
The stories are just insane with him. And I watched a video of him accepting an award. And as strong and as tough and all that stuff as he is, when he started talking about his mama, that got him, bro. That got him.
Yeah.
It gets us all, right?
It does. It's great. I mean, it's fun. All right, I'll do this in 20 words or less. Kind of, maybe. About parents and my mother. Real talk, I was supposed to be drowned at birth, actually. We didn't get into that when I got here, because I got here late. But I was supposed to be drowned at birth. I was born in a third world country, and I was number 9. Number 8 was really sick, and I was in an accident. And in that country, it's very run-of-the-mill just to throw them in a river. Just throw them in a creek. Just let them go. So I was supposed to be drowned at birth.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
That was my start. Yeah.
Well, you beat that.
Yeah, I got those odds out the way.
You have to win now.
But, man, my parents the parents I have now were working on adopting an American child for years, and there are a lot of steps for that, right? So they realized, let's try and go international. And because two highly qualified American parents are now looking international, they got fast-tracked to the front of the line off the wait list because they only had to add some kind of form, right? But everything else was there, the bank statements, the job, this and that, all the interviews America did. You know, you go to a third world country, like, yo, please take this kid.
Right.
But I was already born. And because of that situation, I had to be taken out of that situation immediately. So this lawyer's assistant took me, and I stayed in an office for a week. This assistant's office illegally for a week. And at that time, the timing worked out to where my parents switching from domestic to international adoption, and that week we're like, I can't keep this kid anymore, coincided. And because they were so qualified, got fast-tracked, they were able to scoop me up and get me out of there. And so, yeah, when I think about that, I get really almost like, it messes with you, man. Like my mother and father have saved my life plenty of times over, but that's how it started.
It's crazy and it's ironic. We got a lot in common, man. My first podcast that we did was with the young lady that Jammy girl, Zori Thomas is her name, out of Laura. She makes soap and bath bombs and this kind of stuff. Her mother, she's adopted. Her mother was looking to foster adopt, and her and her brother both adopted. They were both born with drugs in their system. They shared that on the podcast, and so she's got learning disabilities, tons of anxiety, that kind of stuff, which I'm assuming comes from the drugs when she was a child or whatever.
Very well put, yeah.
So she's here. She's coming out of her shell. It was on a Saturday. Sunday, I'm up here setting up a computer, all that. My little girl comes to me. She's like, Daddy, I need you to stop messing with the computer. We need to talk.
She worded just like that,
yeah,
too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Me and Mommy need to talk to you. And they sit down around the table, and she says, I want to adopt a sister. And it all come from that Zori Thomas interview. So last night, we went to a meeting about fostering. And
nice.
I mean, to me, that's one of the most selfless things you can do. And there's so many people that are adopted. My mother was adopted. You know, I mean, just people in your life, and it's ironic that you bring that up. 'Cause literally last night we were at a meeting about fostering.
That's
kids.
Great. You never know what. I mean, I can't even fathom, and I joke about stuff like that. Like when someone's like, nice shirt. It's like, yeah, I could have been making it, but now I'm wearing it. Like it's funny to me. But at the same time, it gets real heavy when you think about the effect of something like that.
Oh my God.
Could or couldn't have. Who knows? But
think about the difference of like in your life, which I mean, I'm not telling you anything, but I mean, it's wow.
Man, I'm gonna be 34 in March, and there's zero to no way, right, that I would be able to be here, not even here, like alive,
right,
at 30. Like that's not something obvious. Well, according to the original plan, I wasn't supposed to make it an hour and a half.
Right.
So I mean, I won, but now I've got a son, and I've got my own business, and I get to influence an entire industry to where, you know, I've got the funniest nicknames coming from the coolest people I've ever met. I get to sit here and like we get to cut up and talk about ideas and histories and stories.
Two complete strangers, man. Like we've been friends for years. I mean, it's
best message I've gotten all year was from you, by the way. That was so awesome. It was like podcast. Hell yeah.
It's crazy.
Same
to
mindset.
Me.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, and that's why I'm doing this is because I want young people to realize that you didn't come up with an easy upbringing. I didn't have an easy upbringing. They don't have an easy upbringing. You can do it. Don't listen to negative people. Get those people out of your life. Mm-hmm. Stop listening to negative. Stop playing the victim's role and all that. I should have been a victim of circumstances. I didn't allow it.
Yeah, we all could be. Yeah,
I wasn't going to allow that.
Nope.
I'm going to chase my dreams. And I get frustrated when I see young people that don't chase their own, or anybody, but especially young people. Like we said earlier, when you don't have a bunch of bills, you don't have this.
Oh my God! Like
take your graduation money, go start a business. Do whatever.
Man, could you imagine? Like, and I love everything I have now, but imagine like no cars, no mortgage, no kids, no this, no that, no. Like you could stay up till 4 a.m., roll out of bed at 6 a.m., pound a Gatorade, and you're good for another 20 hours. Like
my regret from being early 20s without, because we didn't have my daughter. I was 35 when we had my daughter, so I mean, we had plenty of time to go. I wish I'd have traveled more, and I traveled a lot, moving back and all over. I've seen the country. I've been back and forth across this country a dozen times.
That's awesome.
My wife didn't have that experience as a child. I wish we'd have traveled more, but I fell into that rut trying to keep up with the Joneses. I need 2 motorcycles, and I need a truck, and I need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, stainless. I mean, that crap. Yeah, I fell into that rut, and now I have to go get a job. I can't go to Boulder and bartend in the wintertime.
Right.
And do that.
Right.
Because I can't, I watch YouTube videos right now about, van life, and these young people that are living in vans and traveling.
Right.
That's epic, man.
Can you imagine?
No.
How much fun would that be?
It would be, and you just go and you just, whatever, you're going to... Burning Man and just all and I've had experiences like bridge days and this kind of stuff, but just to travel and enjoy life and meet new people and
changes your entire worldview and mindset.
That's what I wish we'd do. I encourage young people to do that as well, but all of it, whether it's starting a business or whatever, stay out of debt. Don't worry about the Joneses. Don't worry. You don't need to go get an $800 a month Range Rover payment.
Right. No.
Nobody cares.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. I mean, at the very first, learn about debt.
Yeah.
If you want to take a risk, cool, but learn. Yeah. Taking a risk doesn't mean just sign your name, giving your Social Security, and taking out loans for something you don't understand. Right. Learn first, and then you can kind of be like, all right, this may cost $50,000 up front, or I took a $50,000 loan out, but after just paying the minimums, I'm going to be paying this for X amount of years, and I'm going to be paying $80,000 when it's all said and done. Most kids don't know that. Right.
But to do that to start a food truck, that's one thing. Right. To do that to go get a 2-year-old Corvette to try to impress somebody is ridiculous.
That's absolutely that's just asinine.
But they do it. People do it all the time.
I see what you're saying now. No question. Don't do it.
I see these $80,000, $90,000 trucks and these teenagers and 20-year-olds driving them. I'm like, that's crazy to go get in that kind of debt. Everybody assumes that mom and dad paid for it.
Right.
I don't think there's not that many people that are paying cash for these cars that are, and even if you were, that's crazy.
And if they were, the people who have the money to drop like that on those cars aren't the ones. They're smart enough not to.
Right. Exactly.
If I got 90 G's, you're not getting a car at 16 that's brand new. It's just not going to happen.
Why? So you go wreck it, we sell it to the insurance company.
Right.
I mean,
I totally agree.
My business partner is worth multiple millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. His son could be driving he could afford to go buy his kid a Lambo or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
He's driving a $20,000, $30,000 Subaru Crosstrek.
Right.
Because I don't need it.
Same theme, process.
Right. Well,
start with that. Or you're never going to appreciate something that's maybe nicer. If your first car is a 6 Series, like a brand new 6 Series drop top, and you're driving drunk and texting and all that other garbage just because daddy's going to buy you a new one.
Right. What I learned in hindsight, again, what I realized is the stuff growing up that I wanted, once it was attainable, it wasn't important to me anymore.
Say that again.
So
I'm told. I want to hear that again.
So growing up, the stuff to me when I was in high school that was unattainable, that's all I wanted. There was one point in time I wanted to write a letter to Oprah to see if she'd buy me a motorcycle. Right? I'm a poor kid. I need a motorcycle. Oprah, this would change my life.
Yeah.
Now that I could go and buy any motorcycle that I wanted, it's not important to me. Right?
That's insane insight.
I used to we all had Ferrari and Lamborghini posters and stuff like that on the wall. It's not important to me now. And it could just be where I'm at in my life.
That's
right. To me now, it's about legacy. It's about helping others.
I love that, man.
I mean, I would much rather, fostering. I want to foster because I have the opportunity to touch a lot of people and affect their lives in public. I mentor 100%. For the same reasons. I'm doing this for the same reasons. I want people to see it. I want it to encourage young people to go do their thing. That's where I'm at in my life right now. It could be age. It could be that financially I can go buy whatever, for the most part that I want.
Sure.
But stuff that I wanted that I thought was important, that was unattainable was just not important to me at this point in my life. And I don't know why that is.
All I have are guesses, but I so love that. And I maybe I didn't. I feel that because I agree, and I never really I never was able to articulate it that clearly. But it's because whatever you can attain, and I know you're talking about material things, they're material.
Right.
When they're unattainable, it's almost like they're not even material.
Right.
Like
Sure.
someone I follow very closely is Gary Vaynerchuk, huge marketing guru. You know Gary V. His thing is always he wants to buy the jets.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to put myself in his shoes like that, and I have a goal like that that's huge. And I've only told one person. No, I've told two people ever. One not even being my mother. It's funny. It's funny as hell. I don't think I ever told her, but it's not real. It's like not real. Right? I'll say it now, and then I'll apologize to my mom later. But I would love, and it would be a lifetime thing, for me to go back and become the president of Honduras.
Sure.
That's where I was born. That's where I was supposed to be drowned. Come back and run that, and not even run it like I'm the president, but run it as in like from everything that I've gathered on my journey to bring all that kind of opportunity and insight and just hope and process and everything back to a country that, resource-wise, could be one of the number one nations on earth. But the way it's set up now, it's not. I mean, they're under martial law right now. It's terrible. But it's not real right now. And like you said, once I attain it, like if I was actually in the presidency, it'd probably be like, well,
yeah,
not the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, even like with Gary V, I mean, you get the jets, then what's next?
What's next, right?
You know, it's like I was telling you the story about missing that opportunity in the market and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You listen to Gary's story about Uber.
Oh my God! Or Twitter? Was it Twitter or Facebook that he passed on like
Uber.
3 times? Uber
He
three times.
He passed on Uber.
Yeah.
It was like $25K would be worth $400 million a day or something
Yeah, that
like
one.
that.
Yeah. And then he passed on 2 rounds of either Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah.
I think it was Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine?
But even that, those are the stories you hear about. I bet his email blows up daily with, want an angel invest in this? Here's this, here's my that.
Right.
And so everybody thinks, oh, Gary's so lucky he gets these giant opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to weed out 10 million other ones.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man.
And which ones are you going to take risks on?
But his Uber story, there's some people that would just go into depression, and that's oh my God, I could have bought the jets now.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. And
I'm
he
still
learns
hooked on
from it.
that. Say, all right, the things you once wanted to attain, I'm so stuck on that. Like that's going to carry me for like a month.
Yeah.
Once you attain them, they're not as important.
Once they were attainable. Yeah.
See, I love that, man. That changes like that. That speaks to your drive to grow.
Yeah.
Like once it's like I can grab this right now if I want to. Like I haven't grabbed that for the time we've been sitting here because it's attainable.
Yeah.
It's not that important.
But for me, back in high school, it was. I mean, motorcycles was my big thing. Sport bikes. I wanted a $6,000 sport bike, $7,000 sport bike, more than any. It was $7,000.
Yeah.
Bro, that's nothing.
Right.
I mean, $7,000 is nothing. And like I said, I mean, I seriously, I was like, I'm going to write Oprah a letter. She could find this in the couch cushions kind of thing. It would change my life. And then once I got to the point to where it was attainable, it's just not that big of a deal anymore.
That's crazy to think about.
And so it should always be changing, right?
Yeah.
So now, because your goals are always changing,
Always.
Now for me, what's not attainable is whatever. It's affecting 1,000 kids, helping 1,000 kids start their way or whatever. Sure. And once it's attainable, then it won't be that important to me because now the goal's 10,000 or 100,000 or $1 million or whatever.
I'm definitely with that. 'Cause I think right now my goal is on the first day of. This is so funny because I'm totally gonna call you when this day happens. I'm gonna be like, "You're right, it's not that important."
Yeah.
But I want to do something more. But the first day that the new food truck laws change, I want to help 10 trucks get approved on day one. I want to almost double the market on day one.
And even that goes back to where I am in my life. It's selfless.
Yeah.
You don't have to help anybody.
No,
you want to help people.
A cow does well, but
right.
But it's there's something about giving back, and there's something about growing, and there's something about significance that really drive me. But there's also a challenge.
Me too, man.
Like I did it for me. Now it's almost like, can I help someone else?
I have to show somebody else how to do it.
Can I?
It wasn't that hard.
I don't want to waste that first year. Let's put this year to good use every day.
No, man, I'm the same way. That's where I'm at in my life right now, which is why I started doing this, which is why I'm reaching out to complete strangers that I know that have a story, can bring value to young people. And so
I hope so.
And that's it, man.
I love talking to young people about that stuff because they've got energy and open-mindedness. And there's a vibration with young people that hasn't been, I don't know what the word is, tarnished, tainted, faded, whatever. But and if they knew if we could continue to pour what we've been through and what we think and know and let them make their own decisions on it. But if they just had that insight at 18, 19, 20, like I'm gonna be 34, you're 40, you said 43. Like, can you imagine if we had 20 years of this that we have right now?
That's when I talk to kids, I'm like, look, I get it. You're going to go buy a truck. You're going to do this. Yeah. What I'm trying to do is tell you the stuff that took me 30 years to realize.
Right.
If you can get 15 years head start on me, you're light years ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
And that's it. And so, that's why I speak. And it's funny when we started the business page on Facebook, motivational speaker was a thing. And I told my marketing lady, I'm like, I'm not a motivational speaker. I encourage people. I'm not motivational. I tell my story and I try to encourage people to go chase their dreams, but I just don't like the whole the title motivational on it. It's not about motivation, man. Motivation. I don't know. It may be Goggins that says motivation's temporary. It goes away. That's why I try to encourage people.
I've done a video about, and that's come up on a couple of videos I've done. Now, it's not as cool as this setup. I mean, I tried. I put my phone against a stack of books and I started running my mouth.
All of this right here. This is why I don't play golf.
Right.
Because I could have stuck my phone on a stack of books, but
I've been there. That's me now.
But I figure that for some reason a credit card will compensate.
Yeah.
So it's like I need lights, I need cameras, I need microphone, I need all this stuff when you don't. And that's what I don't want a young person to think is that you don't. You need somewhere to sit down and a camera. It could be your phone. And if you want 3 camera shots like we're doing here,
right,
you and whoever you interview has got a phone. That could get you 2 of them.
That's 2 right there. Yeah. The production quality is off the hook, though. I watched the one with Chris Walker. That was awesome. Yeah, but
that was
I love that.
The third video I've ever edited.
I saw that.
Third video I have ever edited.
Because I tried to scroll. I was like, well, let me see some others. I was like, there's only a couple
Third
here.
video I've ever edited. 20 minutes on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Learn how to edit video.
Saw that,
Like all the gear. Mm-hmm. Like there's 3 other videos on YouTube of me speaking at a school. I hired that gentleman, Hugo, to come film me. Mm-hmm. And he's got an amazing story. And as he's filming, I'm learning from him and all that stuff. And then I reach out to him. I said, hey, I want to start a podcast. I don't know anything about anything. I don't know about this audio record. I don't know nothing. Can you help me?
Yeah.
He sends me an email. Here's a shopping cart. This is what you need.
That's awesome.
Like these cameras, I didn't know anything about the cameras. Most cameras, this style DSLR mirrorless cameras will only record video for 30 minutes because of some EU tax and all this stuff. These will record forever. I would have never known. I would have bought the wrong cameras if I tried to do this on my own. I'd have went out to bought Canons. I'd have bought something. I'd have bought the wrong stuff. And he hooked me up completely. Wireless mics and all this stuff. And I just ask.
That's
what
awesome.
Can he say no? I'll find somebody else then.
That's what
I'll
you were
learn
saying,
on my own or whatever.
And who was the first person you asked to interview or bring in here for the podcast?
So the first person I brought in my daughter to talk about why we're doing it.
Can't top that.
First person I asked to do it was my boy Chris because he worked with me.
Yep.
And then grew to his thing, and we're talking all the time and that stuff. Yeah. But then the first person I asked that I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Was Senator Tim Scott.
That's awesome.
What, is he going to say no, not respond? He didn't respond yet. Right. I'll send him another email. Man. I don't care. I get it. There's less than 50 subscribers at this point. What's funny to me is when you look back, let's call it 5 years from now, we keep doing this. There's 50 subscribers now, and there's 50,000 then, or whatever the number is. So it's part of the process.
Part of the process.
But I don't have a problem. That's why I reached out to you. We'd never spoken before.
No,
I had somebody tell me your name, tell me what you're doing. I'm like, I love food trucks, man. Let me reach out to you.
I'll feed you too, by the way.
That's just it. And the people we've got coming, I've got tomorrow. I was telling you about Travis, who just got in prison for murder and that kind of stuff. He's got a story to tell about how the streets and the gangs and that stuff. They're not your family, they're not your friends.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. And we just I'll post it. I'll make it public this weekend. But it's a psychotherapist that's coming in talking about depression and then we get deep about why I decided to see a therapist and what the reasons I chose a female and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I wrote a blog about it today is because the stigma needs to be moved. If you're having mental health issue problems, go get help. There's
help.
people there, man.
Yeah.
Just go talk to somebody.
Absolutely.
And
I do.
Like I do too. But see, like I wanted a female therapist because I didn't want a male because I didn't think I could be honest with them. Right?
Okay, that's real.
You can't show your emotions in front of another guy. We're two big guys. You can't.
Right.
I can't sit here. We can't cry with each other. So I felt like if I had a female therapist, I could be more honest and whatever. And other guys should. I mean, they should just. You should know that, man. Just go do it. It's not. Nobody cares. They're there to help.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm at in my life. I'm extremely open with all my mistakes and quirks and what. I don't care.
Sure.
If it helps somebody else out.
Yeah, man.
And that's all it's about.
I love that. I didn't know that, and I feel like we could go on forever.
We could.
I've definitely, and I've put a couple videos out where I first came out about anxiety and depression, and even suicidal thoughts. And I think running a business, first of all, statistically, and I do say this to the kids that want to start a food truck because they see it and they know their chef skills,
right?
And they can cook circles around me all day. But one thing I always make known to them is statistically, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but statistically, you're 3 times more likely to commit suicide if you start a business. And I think that's because of the people not being aware of the bad side of it, or the hard side, you know, like the nights where you may not make money, or, you know, you don't know how much goes into it, and you have unrealistic expectations. Then when reality comes, it's hard. But yeah, I've talked about and had my own personal journey with depression and anxiety. And, you know, I find out a lot of cool things that have helped. And some things that are just terrible. Like, depression is awful.
I've never dealt with. My mother has her whole life. She's always dealt with depression and been on Prozacs and Zolofts and all this kind of stuff. And I always was like, "Suck it up. It's life. We life sucks for all of us at some point or another. Suck it up." And then I've have hypothyroidism and got on some thyroid medicine that I started having side effects from, and it took me a while to notice. But what would happen was I would sit in my office and stare out the window for hours. You and I would be having a conversation, but I wouldn't be here mentally.
Right.
I'm looking at the wall behind you. I'm not paying attention. And then I started having suicidal thoughts daily. Every day.
Daily is deep. Yeah.
And then it got to the point to where it's in my mind, I'm planning this out. But I need to plan it out to where it looks like a murder or missing person so my wife gets life insurance money.
Like, you really thought this
out.
Bro,
I mean, I was like, it got to the point where I was thinking about, could I get helium balloons, tie a gun to them, shoot myself, the balloons fly off, and the gun drops and never be found? Mm-hmm. Like, it got to that point.
You're like,
and I'm like, this isn't me. I've got a great life. I don't want to. This isn't me. And I wrote a blog about this today. But I call the doctor. First, I tell all my inner circle, my wife, my employees, my business partner. So if you see something going on, it's not me. It's medicine. I've realized I've got something going on. I called the doctor. I was like, talk to the nurse, say, look, I'm having some side effects from this. And so, what's the side effects? I can't focus. You know, I'm having suicidal thoughts, all this kind of stuff. That's impossible. That medicine that's an impossible side effect.
So you're lying?
So,
like, what do you mean?
Well, give me an appointment for the doctor, and it's 6 months away or whatever. I was like, I can't wait 6 months. I get on Google and I start typing in the name of the medicine. The first thing that auto-populates, suicide, right? I call back and I'm like, I can't wait 3 months or 6 months, whatever it was. Can I see the PA or something? Even though insurance won't, I'll pay for it. Mm-hmm. You've got 2 options. You can go to the emergency room, or I'm going to call the cops and have you arrested. I'm like, what? I called it. I didn't tell you. I'm thinking about. I realized
arrested for what?
Because you want to harm yourself, apparently. And I'm like, I'm telling you that I'm not threatening to do it. I'm just telling you the side effects that I'm having that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, right.
And I go. She gets me in to see the doctor. They do blood work, and I'm dropping my daughter off at pre-K. I get a phone call, 805, number. I answer, and it's the same nurse. Michael, you have hypothyroidism. You're going to die if you don't take your medicine. I'm like, I'm not going to be dead before lunch. I'm not taking that same medicine.
Right.
Tell the doctor to get me new meds.
Yeah.
And you don't understand. If you don't do something, you're going to die. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be dead before he can prescribe me a new thing. She tells me within 2 minutes, 3 different times, that I'm going to die. I think she's just the kind of person that looks for a reaction.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to break down, start crying. I don't know.
Cry or cuss or something.
But after that experience, that's when I learned that when you have brain chemicals out of whack, you along for the ride. You have no control. It's not just suck it up by your bootstraps or whatever.
Yeah.
It completely changed my outlook on mental health.
It's so
completely.
Real. Yeah.
So we got a lot in common, man.
That's crazy, man.
We have a lot in common.
I'm glad you're smiling now.
Yeah.
And you're doing like you're.
But that's the other thing is. But it wasn't like I wasn't depressed or sad. It was just it was crazy. But I was self-aware enough to know that this isn't me. This isn't what I want. There's something's going on with work. I mean, while I was at work, I'm noticing that like I said, I'm staring out the windows, all that. I was like, this isn't me. Something's wrong. And the only thing it could be is this medicine, because that's the only thing that's changed recently. And
yeah, that's deep.
Change the meds,
real.
change doctors, no problems.
Right. So apparently we solved that problem.
Yeah, but it's crazy, man. Bro, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's been awesome. I think we'll do it again for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
We
I got to bring the drone by.
We will definitely do this again.
I'll bring the drone by. You can use the drone.
I'm going to learn how to fly it.
Yeah, do it, man.
Yeah.
What kind of phone you got?
Android.